Hi, I'm Christopher DeHarde. He's Wyatt. He's Brad. We're here with Frontstretch.com, the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix here at Barber Motorsports Park, a 17-turn, 2.3-mile natural terrain road course built on the site of a former strip mine. Alex Palou is unstopping this guy. His average finish this year in 4 races is 1.25. He's basically a cheat code for Chip Ganassi Racing. It's almost not fair, is it, Wyatt?
It's really not fair. I mean, Alex Palou has been dominant all season long. If it weren't for a Kyle Kirkwood at Long Beach, we would be talking 4 in a row to start the season, and we're going to Indy GP where he won last season, I believe, right?
And the year before.
Before.
So Scott McLaughlin,
4 for 5.
So Scott McLaughlin, who finished 3rd, had the chance to become the first of 3 drivers to do 3 three-peats in a row, with him at here, Alex Palou at the Indy GP, and then Joseph Newgarden at the Indy 500. But this wasn't quite meant to be for Scott or second place finisher Christian Lundgaard, wasn't it, Brad?
Absolutely. The force was indeed with Alex Palou. They here on May the
4th be with
and
you.
one reason for that was that now, for yet another race, the entire event went without a caution. Other than the opening laps at St. Pete, there's not been a caution at all this season, and that obviously today helps out Palou, because without a caution to bunch things up, the only way for anyone to really have an advantage and catch Alex Palou was for a mishap on pit road, and his Chip Ganassi team was very, very on point. So the best anyone else here today could do was to compete for second place, which is what ended up shaking out.
It's hard to beat perfection when you have that on pit road. I mean, Alex Palou's got one of the best strategists in the business, Barry Wanzer. There's nothing that can really beat this guy. So let's kind of just go through the event just very quickly here, because let's face it, other than Alex Palou up front, there wasn't really that much going after him. Probably the story for me, Rinus VeeKay, he started 6th, finished, I believe it was 4th, right behind Scott McLaughlin there at the end of the race. You talked to Rinus after the race. How was he?
I've talked to Rinus all weekend, really. What a weekend for Rinus VeeKay. I even talked to him after practice 1. It wasn't really that fast. It was 23rd in that session. And then all of a sudden he found the speed after practice 2, made big adjustments to the car, qualified well in the converging to the dry and Saturday session. And then Sunday just held on to it for the most part, rebounded from early slow stop to get back up to 4th after a great stop by number 18 Honda team for Dale Coyne Racing. And then another issue with the wheel nut almost got him in the clutches of Will Power, who finished 5th, but he was able to hold off Power in the end to get a 4th, first top 5 finish for Dale Coyne Racing since David Malukas did the podium in 2023 at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway.
Yeah, Rinus, this isn't his first rodeo around here at Barber. He was on the pole here in 2022 and finished 3rd in that race. He ran here in the junior level categories as well, had several podiums. I don't think he got a win here, though, in his time in the Road to Indy, but he definitely, USF Pro Championships, let me put $1 in the swear jar there. But he's got a lot of experience here in the junior categories, and like I said, he got a pole in 2022. Great job by Rinus all weekend long, especially with the Dale Coyne Racing team. They didn't have a good year last year, but hey, let's face it, they're doing really well this year.
I'll say this before we move on. Rinus is going into the Indy GP where he won here in 2021. He feels like he could win that race next weekend.
It wouldn't surprise me if he did, because I mentioned before, he knows his way around. He's a very talented driver, very underrated. Hate that he got let go from Red Carbon Racing, but maybe it was the best thing that happened to him. Brad, this was your first IndyCar race. What were your main takeaways of the weekend, just from procedural standpoint, how everything was outside of the racing? What were your takeaways?
Well, it's like any other form of racing. If there's a guy who's so good, there's nothing really you can do about that. But obviously, but yeah, just the way that the series kind of puts it more out in the open as far as showcasing, hey, here is what these are the guys doing their craft. They're not really as bashful in some ways about kind of being all lock-key about secrets and everything. And it is really a tremendous way that, if you have someone who is, it's really a tremendous way in terms of if you have someone who's like a first-time fan showing up, it's easy for fans to get hooked on the sport when they kind of see up close that technology and info right out there in front of them.
And the paddock was very open for everybody. Had a paddock passage right over here, right behind where we're standing right now. or rather we're looking that direction. Right behind us is actually the racetrack. I have here in my hand the actual box score of the race. I'll just go through the names on here very briefly here. Alex Palou winning, Christian Lingard second, Scott McLaughlin third, Rinus VeeKay fourth, Will Power fifth, Pato Award sixth, Colton Herta seventh, Alexander Rossi finishing eighth after starting 15th. Got a feature on him for how his race went on Frontstretch.com. Nolan Siegel ninth, great job for him. First Firestone Fast 6 appearance, started sixth, great job by him.
First top 10 for him as well in this season.
Exactly. Didn't have too good of a start to the season, but hey, great job by him, especially coming to the month of May proper.
Talk to him on our Frontstretch Open Wheel YouTube page. Be sure to check out that interview as well.
Subscribe, like, do everything all the other YouTubers ask you to do. Joseph Newgarden finished 10th, then Kyle Kirkwood, Scott Dixon, Felix Rosenquist, Graham Rahal, Christian Rasmussen right out of the top 15, followed by David Malukas, Marcus Armstrong, Santino Ferrucci, Connor Daly, and Marcus Erickson finished 20th. He had a damaged front wing at the end of the race. Not ideal for going fast around Barber Motorsports Park. Kevin Simpson finished 21st. Not a good day for him after starting 10th.
That pit stop.
Yeah, that'll kill you, especially in a race that goes caution-free. Yep. Stingray Robb started and finished 22nd. Callum Isle at 23rd. Devo DiFrancesco 24th. Really puzzled by his performance this weekend because he started off the weekend so well. He was like 7th in the first practice. Robert Schwartzman finished 25th. Louis Foster with 26th. Really didn't understand his race as well. He started 12th. I had high hopes for that one. Sometimes things just don't work out in racing. Racing's hard. Connor Daly says so on his podcast. Jacob Abel finished 27th. Let's face it, you just gotta survive sometimes. Just like my good old Dallas Stars survived against the Colorado Avalanche. I had to bring them up. I'm sorry. Go Stars. They won last night, and I was so happy, but I couldn't watch the game because I didn't want to make too much noise in my Airbnb. Final thoughts from Wyatt.
I mean, the final thoughts from here is another caution-free race. It's 3 in a row. We haven't had a caution since lap 1, the opener of the IndyCar Series season at St. Petersburg. And a lot of the takeaways from some of the guys at the paddock, they thought this was a really boring race. Going into next week, there's going to be a different change in the tire strategies. You're going to have 2 primary tires and 2 alternate red tires at the Indy GP. Sets of
you don't mix and match. You don't run alternates on one side of the car, primary on the side. No.
Not to confuse that, obviously.
I'll go into that actually. Good point, you brought that up. Yeah, IndyCar has mandated that you have to run 2 sets of both the primary and alternate compound tires for the next race coming up at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, which is going to be in 6 days' time from when this video is going to, be sent out to the Frontstretch Open Wheel YouTube gods.
And there's differing opinions on that from strategists to drivers. Some like it, some are kind of iffy, some think it's going to kill strategy. So we're going to see next week. I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens. We'll talk about it on the pit straight probably tomorrow, and I'm just thrilled to see what will happen at the Indy GP. Barber as a track, amazing. First time I got to be out here. If you are in Alabama, if you're in the Southeast, please come to this. This is truly the Augusta National of motorsports.
It's only 10 miles east of Birmingham, and it's got one of the best motorsports museums in the country. It's got the largest collection of motorcycles, I think, anywhere in the world.
And go to the Buc-ee's, too.
Yeah, there's a Buc-ee's right across. You can't miss the Buc-ee's. It's right there. Your final thoughts on the weekend?
Racing is all about momentum, and we're going to the stretch where all eyes of motorsports are on IndyCar for this next 4 weeks. So, for teams like Chip Ganassi Racing, they've got to be feeling pretty good. Aaron McLaren, Tony Kanaan noted that, they didn't get the win, but 3 cars in the top 10, that's pretty darn good too. So, now the big key is, because there are some teams that come out today have to be feeling really good about themselves during the next couple of weeks. So we'll see if that translates, and we'll also see if teams are motivated in the opposite way of getting off the canvas for a huge few weeks for the sport.
The turnaround is going to be quick. Every team except for 2 are based in the Indianapolis area, so they're all driving back to Indianapolis right now. They're going to get their cars unloaded back at the shop tomorrow. Pretty sure they're just going to park the trucks in the shop and then call it a night. And then tomorrow is when they're going to turn around all the cars from Barber spec to Indy GP spec, which really is just a setup change. I mean, they use most of the same components unless they life them out. And then after the Indy GP is when we get to the really fun part of the month of May, practice for the Indianapolis 500 qualifying, and then the 109th running of the greatest spectacle in racing. Wyatt, take us out.
Hey, just follow us on Frontstretch Open Wheel on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter as well. Be sure to follow all of our @s on Twitter. I'm Wyatt W Racing on Twitter, and C DeHarde on Twitter as well. Brad, what's yours on?
Yeah,
on Twitter?
FS Brad H.
FS Brad H for Brad Harrison. I'm Wyatt Watson. He's Christopher DeHarde. He's Brad Harrison. Be sure to tune in for more racing content on Frontstretch Open Wheel.
Steven Stump of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.